Yo, what's good, Joe? It's your man, the Bigga P, and I'm here to share my thoughts on the Brandon Rios-Mike Alvarado 3 card from this past weekend. Now, I would have done it. Usually, I like to do these things after the fight, but I don't know what happened. I don't know why I did not. I did not do it. Something came up, but um, but I figured this is now time and ever since right now Northeast is getting hit with a lot of snow. And as I'm looking out my window right now, looking out my condo, um, I could see that it's a good amount off the ground. At least I'd say a foot and a half of snow right off the off the ground. Um, when this is stopped, I am not gonna look forward to having to shovel some of this shit out. So I figured, hey, I might as well do so since I'm not going anywhere. I might as well at least get this video out of the way before I have to start work. Unfortunately, I have remote capability, so it's not a true snow day for me. So yeah, let's start with the card. The opener was Gilberto Ramirez versus Maxime Vlasov. There was a lot of hype going into this fight, mostly on Ramirez's side because personally I'd never seen him fight, but 30-0 with 24 knockouts, you think, okay, maybe this guy is a banger or whatever, and they were really hyping this. They were hyping this up, so I'm like, okay, so this guy's gonna give us a good show. Now Vlasic, I have seen fight before. Um, I saw his fight with Chilimba, and he acquitted himself well. It was a close fight. I really thought he acquitted himself well in that fight. So I was thinking that maybe an upset could happen, because I always have that feeling that sometimes that the one, in most recent years, I always had this feeling people would have these type of inflated records like a 30-0, 24 knockouts. They either they were facing cans or whatever, and that was the case I felt with Ramirez. Um, Now the fight itself, it was not. I mean, Ramirez won. Don't get me wrong, he won the fight, but he won the fight because he outworked the guy, and Vlasov decided to do his best impression of Kevin Johnson, and just pot shotting one punch, one shot at a time. However, Ramirez did not look good. I mean, pretty much everything about he outworked him, but the power, I didn't really see it, and his defense is leaky as anything. I mean, Vlasov literally could not miss, whether it was an uppercut or that straight right that he kept catching him over and over again. There was no adjustments to that. It was just going forward and trading. And I was like thinking to myself, now I know Vlasov. I mean, he has decent power, and I was hoping that maybe one of those shots would actually wobble him. But at least Ramirez at least showed that his chin is actually, he has a solid chin, because he was really getting tagged by that straight right. Um, but yeah, I wasn't too impressed. Like I said, literally, I mean, he outworked the guy because Vlasov most of the time took. I think he gassed probably midway or near the end of near half the final third of the fight, and let Ramirez outwork him. So, like I said, I mean, it was an okay fight to watch. I mean, I enjoyed it, but the hype for Ramirez, I just didn't get. And if he's gonna fight at 168, I would bet that he's gonna give that pretty much any of the top 168 pounders would inflict that L on his record. I didn't see anything special yet, and he definitely needs more seasoning, and definitely needs someone. Definitely needs to tighten up his defense. Um, and now as for Vlasov, I mean, like I said, if he was more active, he could have won that fight. Like I said, because he was the most accurate. He was a very accurate puncher, and it was a shame to see him turtle up the way he did at times, mostly because of his stamina. He was getting outworked, but I'm pretty sure we'll see both of them at some, on TV in the future, especially Ramirez. If they're gonna keep hyping up his now 31-0 record with 24 knockouts. So that brings us to the main event, which was third fight between Brandon Rios and Mike Alvarado. Now, I was anticipating this fight for a while, and how could I not? Because the first two fights were a classic slugfest. The first fight, where Rios stopped Alvarado, although that was an early stoppage, and then afterwards the rematch, where Mike use this movement and boxing skills to actually to get by Rios in the second fight. And again, that was another, both fights were fight of the year candidates. So I'm thinking to myself, fight like this, I was thinking A, I was expecting a slugfest, and B, I was expecting someone was going to be done. Um, one, one of those thoughts came true, as in someone was going to be done. The slugfest part, while it was too one sided for my liking. Um, Now, as we all know, Mike Alvarado has a lot of problems outside of the ring. Legally, he gets into trouble a lot. Especially, he likes to get in trouble on the eve of his fights. He gets into some altercation, some problem, one problem after another. And for the most part, I didn't see it ever really affect him. But this time, for this fight, it looked like he looked bad. I mean, he made the weight, but he didn't look good. I mean, I remember that there was a video of him shadow boxing with leather pants on. I'm like, what the fuck is that? You know, it's like in contrast to Rios, I couldn't even tell Rios was even in shape because he was in warm ups. Uh, but I was expecting but I was just trying to gauge because ever since their second fight, I mean, both of them have been on some lows. I mean, Mike hasn't won a fight since. Mike got bludgeoned by Ruslan, and then afterwards he showed almost little to no fire in that fight with Marquez. And Rios, after that fight, even though he lost, got the fight with Manny Pacquiao, who said to give him a severe boxing lesson. And then afterwards, after he got popped for the banned substance, he went on to face Chavez, who was giving him some work in a dirty foul-filled brawl before Rios got rescued with a DQ. So I was thinking this was pretty much a make or break for both of these fighters. And I was just and this was disappointing because Rios came in. I mean, Rios looked like he looked in good condition, but I was hearing rumors about an arm injury that wasn't healing. Well, I saw none of that because pretty much for 3-4 rounds he just absolutely blitzed Mike with combinations. I mean, this is one of those rare times like Rios turned back the head side. I mean, I thought I was watching lightweight Brandon Rios. It reminded me of the Miguel Acosta fight when he won the title. Um, and Mike just had absolutely nothing. He was gun shy. He didn't throw back. He was just sitting there, just absorbing these shots. I mean, he was busted up early. Usually, Mike takes over time. If you ever watch his fights, he gets busted up over the period of time. But he was usually maybe at least 6 or 7 rounds for him to get busted up. He was busted up probably within the first round. Um, he just wasn't prepared to fight, and it just got worse. He was just getting bludgeoned, and he got knocked down in the third. He was just eating uppercuts. I think the only time he showed fire was in the final seconds, the final maybe half minute of the fight, where he actually showed some fire. But it was just disappointing. And then he pretty much quit on his stool. Talk about he couldn't see. It was highly unsatisfying because I was expecting this to be a 5-year candidate, and it's just you know and just Mike just simply did. She showed up for the check. He didn't look like he trained. I mean, he made the weight, but he didn't look like he trained. He didn't have anything. And this was the second time, of course, he lost in front of his hometown crowd. And the same way, he sat on the side. But at least in the first fight, you could see that he was just getting bludgeoned. So in the wrestling fight, you could think, okay, stop the fight. He was taking too much. But this one, it was just bad because literally he just let himself to get pounded, and then he quit on the stool. Um, and then worse was the post-fight interview. He had the nerve to get indignant, talking about, saying that he wasn't done. But there was nothing in that fight that made me think that he wasn't. That he's definitely not on the slide. Like I said, before I go more into Mike Alvarado, I definitely want to give my props to Brandon because I didn't think he had it in him to actually have a performance like that. I mean, all those years, he'd come into the weigh-in looking drawn, looking like thinner, and then hydrate to something ridiculous. He either looked sluggish, but his power bailing him out. And this was the first fight in a long time that I actually seen him actually look. He looked healthy at the weigh-in, and he looked healthy when he was fighting. There wasn't anything. There wasn't anything that was off. So my kudos to him. And most likely, there are a couple of more big paydays waiting for him. Now, depending of whether or not if now and now of course just because he had Easton with Mike Alvarado, do I think that I think he improved, but I still think that I still don't think he's not prime yet, but I still think that someone else, someone a lot more fresher, can really expose Rios a little bit more. But I'm giving Rios credit because, like I said, he came into shape, he came in, he had a plan, he came ready to fight. So, like I said, now I'm not now going forward. At least I'm not going to count him out in any other future fights. I'm thinking I'm thinking he has a fighting chance. Now as for Mike, um, now more and whoever is handling him, I know or Bob, Bob, his promoter, someone really, if he's going to continue to fight, because Mike is 34 years old, he's not getting he's on the slide of his career. There's no question about that. If Mike is going to continue, they need to get him a soft touch. They need to get him a soft touch badly. Well, first, if he's going to continue to fight, because you have to think about this. There's a reason. If you look at his last string 7, 8 fights, there's a reason why he looked like bad, like his punch resistance. He got busted up quick. You gotta take a look at the list of fighters he's actually fought. I think starting from the Martinez fight he had, and it was Martinez, and he had Rios twice or 3 times, and he had British Press guy, and you have Juan Manuel Marquez, you have Ruslan. He's fought a steady stream of dangerous guys, and Mauricio Herrera. These are and some of those fights, pretty much all the fights were just flat out brawls. You know, somewhere in the midst of that, I like fighters who fight type because he's like 3-4 or 4-4 with 3 KOs in those fights. But if there's a fighter that needs a soft touch, or should have got a soft touch in between any of those fights, it's Mike Alvarado. He should have gotten a soft touch. And I think now if you're gonna try to prolong whatever's left of Mike's career, he needs soft touches, at least 2 soft touches for 2015 in there. And the second part is they need to get Mike the fuck away from Colorado, away from everything, away from his distraction, because he just gets in trouble there. Mike needs a fresh start somewhere out of Colorado, because if he doesn't, because I think changing the environment will probably do him some good. Maybe try to curb some of his bad habits or get him serious about boxing again. Maybe a new trainer or something, a new camp. He needs something. He needs something drastic, because Mike is not going to last too long in boxing. With performances like he pulled off in this fight in this third fight with Brandon Rios, he's not going to last at all. And it's sad that a trilogy like that ended the way it did, because pretty much now there's almost no one's going to want to see a 4th fight. Unless by chance, Alvarado does have a late career swing, and then Rios, has, goes up and then starts going down. Maybe there might be interest, but now, I have no interest in seeing a 4th fight, because why? It's just not, it's not feasible. It's not. I have no interest. It's not feasible thanks to Mike's performance. So it was disappointing. I really wanted I really pegged a fight as a fight of the year candidate, and it didn't deliver. It was pretty disappointing. So I guess the fights will continue. I know Heyman. Pretty much Heyman, and I know there's a couple other announcements from Top Rank, so there's going to be definitely some great fights coming on the horizon. So, yep, I guess I'll just put my hopes in those on delivering which ones will deliver the first fight of the year candidate. So, well, that's it for my thoughts. As again, I'm looking out my window right now. I think the plows and stuff are going off, and snow is coming down, and let's just hope that I can do what I need to do and not go stir crazy. I'll probably watch old fights in between when I'm working at my desk today. Keep myself sane, and and most likely tonight I'll probably have to go dig out my car and everything from the driveway. So it is what it is. But till next time, peace.